Keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure, here we are with a remote learning and teaching process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students. Good morning, dear students. I hope that all of you are safe and fine. And I, Inacia Dsouza, your English teacher of Standard 7, would like to continue with Part 2 of the Souvenir, and let us try to see how Sayali enjoyed her trip on the moon and whether it pays to obey instructions given to us. Now, as we continue today's class, I want you to pay careful attention to the Souvenir Part 2. A jam-packed 3 days program awaited the children on the moon. According to the Earth's calculation, on the moon there were 15 days of daylight and 15 days of night time. The 3 days of the trip were going to be part of the night time on the moon. One of the most important programs of the first day was Sky Watch. On the Earth, it was usually foggy and the stars were seen rarely and only very faintly. There was no atmosphere on the moon. On the dark background of the moon sky, the stars shone dazzling bright. The trip that Sayali had applied for was a 3-day program. So, on the moon, we have 15 days of daytime and 15 days of nighttime. Sayali's program was scheduled for the night time of the 3 days that she would be spending on the moon. One of the most important programs that she would be taking part in was Sky Watch. On the Earth, it's very difficult for us to watch the stars because it is very foggy, means it is not clear, it's misty, and it's not very distinct, it's faint. But since there is no atmosphere on the moon, it is very easy to see the stars shining very brightly. Let us look at a few pictures and try to learn a few words. Like for example, the first word would be foggy, means misty. Let us look at another word which is faintly, which means not clearly, and something just the opposite, dazzling, very bright like the stars that dazzle at night. The second day's attraction was the circus on the moon. One unique feature of the circus was the seating arrangement. The spectators were made to sit in the tent and the circus was going on outside. High jumps and long jumps were the special attractions. One gymnast jumped 27 meters high. I'm sure you must have enjoyed visiting the circus at some point of time. But just imagine watching a circus on the moon. And what is the outstanding or the unique feature of the circus is that you sit in the inside, that is right in the center, and the show takes place all around you. Wonderful, isn't it? And what were the attractions there? High jumps and long jumps. And even a gymnast jumped as high as 27 meters. Isn't that something? Here I have a beautiful picture of people waiting to see the circus on the moon, a gymnast performing her acrobats. Then we also have another beautiful balancing act and another one which is very much in motion. And then we just have those beautiful costumes that you get to see the circus artists wear. Isn't it wonderful? The most attractive view was that of the disk of the Earth. In the moon sky, the Earth looked 13 times bigger than the moon in the Earth sky. It was also 70 times brighter. The Earth light fell on the moon. This beautiful, enchanting view made Sayali and her friends ecstatic. They fell asleep feeling happy, excited, and comfortable at the same time. As you can see, children, here there are two views, one from the moon and the second from the earth. If you go to the moon, the earth looks 13 times bigger and 70 times brighter. But when you go to the earth, what you can see is a tiny little moon which doesn't have a bright light as that of the earth when you are present on the moon. And how does that make you feel? Ecstatic. And ecstatic means having great joy and happiness, as if to say you are on cloud 9 or you are over the moon. And enchanting. The view is enchanting means that this view is delightfully charming or very attractive. On both the days, besides the main attractions, much time was reserved for visiting the various settlements there. It was expected that the students should spend some time for self-study. The teacher had assigned them the task of writing an essay on how they spent their time on the moon, which places they visited, what they observed, etc. Sayali and her friends had traveled far and wide and done a lot of sightseeing. Now, children, the settlements on the moon are different compared to those on the earth. They are dome-shaped. And here, the students were expected to spend some time and study what they saw on the moon. And therefore, they were assigned. Assigned means they were given some homework. And what homework were they given? Yes, the homework that they were given was to write an essay on how they spent their time on the moon, which places they visited on the moon, and what they had seen on the moon. So, in order to complete their homework, Sayali and her friends traveled far and wide. Far and wide shows you that you need to travel a great distance in order to complete your self-study. And I'm sure that many of you spend time on your assignments. On the third day, their teacher took them to a place of historical importance. 100 years ago, Neil Armstrong had landed at this place. Everyone was looking forward to visit the historical monument. It was the oldest place in the history of man on the moon. The first footprint of Neil Armstrong was preserved on the moonland. Besides, the footprint was a grand statue of the first words uttered by a human on the moon. One small step for a man, one giant leap of mankind. Now, on the third day, their teacher had taken them to a place which was of historical value. And which was that place? It was the place where Neil Armstrong had first placed his foot on the moon. Now, at the side were the first words that he had uttered on the moon as well. One small step for a man and one giant leap of mankind. A small step taken by Neil Armstrong on the moon amounted to what? A great discovery or a great revolution for the whole of humanity. The next attraction for the children was that they were going to wear their space suits for the first time. They were going to roam outside, experiencing the gravitational force of the moon. Be careful when you walk, dear children. Don't run or sprint. You will fall. The teacher was warning repeatedly. But who was in the mood to listen? They hopped, jumped, and ran around. The children were so excited to wear their space suits because they were now going to walk on the moon. But do you think it was an easy task to walk with those heavy space suits? Of course not. They were in a mood to run around. And their teacher warned them that if they were to run or sprint means run at top speed, they would definitely fall. But they were in their own world. That means, who was in a mood to listen? Definitely not me. Would you? Buy ornaments specially made from the stones on the moon. Very cheap. Cheaper than those available in the shops in the settlement. Cheaper and better. At least have a look. The roadside shopkeepers screamed at the top of their voice. Buy, sister, buy. I am selling these earrings. Really cheap. Saying this, he approached Sayali and displayed the sets of shining stones earrings. Sayali suddenly remembered her mother. Tomorrow they were to start on their return journey. She had completely forgotten her mother in the last 3 days. She felt terribly guilty. Now, when you see something on the roadside, you find that there are 2 reasons to buy things from the road. One, they look attractive, and second, they are also very cheap. And suddenly Sayali remembered that she had completely forgotten to take something for her mother from the moon. And this made her feel so bad that she decided to buy something for her mother. Let's see what it is. Buy these, sister. Don't think much. Cheaper and better. Take it. Sayali looked around. The other children had proceeded ahead. Come on, give me those red earrings, quick. Sayali pointed at them and asked, "What's the price?" "Only 1,000 rupees," replied the salesman. Sayali immediately paid the amount, took the earrings and ran to catch up with her friends. So here we have Sayali, who had very little time with her, and so she proceeded ahead, moved ahead. To buy what? Red earrings. For whom? For her mother. And notice that her group had moved much ahead, and therefore she ran to catch up with them and to join them. To catch up with is to run ahead and to catch up with those who have moved on. On returning home, Sayali told her mother very enthusiastically, "Mummy, look what I have brought for you." Her mother picked up the earrings. She exclaimed, "Hello, dear. How am I going to wear such heavy earrings?" Sayali immediately realized her mistake. Sayali had purchased the earrings in the field of the moon's gravity. Unfortunately, here we see that Sayali was so excited because she had brought a lovely gift all the way from the moon for her mother. But could her mother wear the earrings? Of course not. And therefore she realized her mistake, that we should always follow instructions. Now this is a story which has been taken from another story called Bait by Lakshman Londe. Let us see what we learn from these stories. Things end, but memories last forever. The most beautiful thing in this world is to see your parents smiling and know that you are the reason behind that smile. Always follow instructions. And now you know why I'm saying that. Because you have to wear your mask if you want to be safe. And most of all, the whole world is yours to explore. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a lovely day. Take care. Be safe.